This is J.R. Colby, Chairman, Newbury Select Board. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Alicia Greco. We'll circle back to Alicia. Mike Doyle,
Yes.
Jerry Heavy,
Yeah.
Jeff Walker,
Yes.
and Alicia, do we have you? Hopefully she'll be popping back in here. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Tracy Blaze, Town Administrator.
Here.
Julie O'Brien, Executive Administrator.
Here.
Martha Taylor, Town Planner.
Here.
Don Lucy, Chief of Police.
Coming.
He's disconnecting.
Jason DeCipio, Principal Assessor.
Here.
Anticipated speakers on the agenda, please respond in the affirmative. Bud Kelly, Chair, Board of Assessors. Linda McCamick, Board of Assessors. And Sandy Wexler, Board of Assessors. All right, I'll move to the introduction to remote meeting. Good evening. This open meeting of the Newbury Select Board is being conducted virtually, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, in the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings. And as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible location. The order, which you can find posted on the town's website, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, the Newbury Select Board is convening by Zoom meeting link is posted on the agenda on the town's website. All of the materials for this meeting, except any executive session materials, are available on the website, and we recommend the members in the public follow the agenda as posted on the website. We will soon turn to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude the remarks, I will go down the line of board members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. Please wait until the chair yields the floor to you, and be sure to state your name before speaking. Members wish to engage in dialogue with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Chairperson or vice chairperson will afford public comment for a period of 3 minutes and will be granted as follows. Participation will be sought through the raise hand function. For video conference participants, this function can be accessed by clicking on the participants option listed in the menu below the photo gallery. Hover your cursor in this area if you don't see it. Participants window will open and display on the right. Of this participant area, you will see the list of phone and video participants, and on the bottom, you will see the ability to click on a button to raise hand. Your name is displayed. You may rename by using the more function next to your name. Telephone participants can use their phone's keypad while in a Zoom meeting to raise hand by hitting *9. Those who have requested to be heard through the raise hand function will be heard in the order of which they are listed. Lists in order by whom first hit the raise hand function. Please identify yourself by stating your name and address and your question or comment. You will be unmuted and your hand will be lowered when you have been given the floor for your questions. We will continue down the list of those in the raise hand column. And finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. I'm just going to circle back to confirm some member access. Alicia Greco, are you present?
Yes.
Gotcha that time. Who else did we miss here? John Lucy, Chief of Police.
Here.
Present.
Present.
And Bud Kelly, Chair, Board of Assessors. Linda McCamick, Board of Assessors. Sandy Wexler, Board of Assessors. Well, we have the public hearing at 7:15, so hopefully we hear from them. I would entertain a motion to open.
Motion open.
Second.
Roll call vote. Alicia Greco,
Yes.
Michael Doyle,
Yes.
Jerry Heavy. Jeff Walker.
Yes.
Jerry, do we have you?
Yes, I said yes.
Okay. Oral communications from citizens. Do we have any raised hands?
I do not see any at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Chairman's report. I signed the PR 21-10 for Julie O'Brien. Under grants, gifts, and donations, we have none tonight. We have a public hearing for Newbury's tax classification. Under new business, we have a council on aging board appointment. Janine Cunningham. This term would be November 24th, 2020, 30th, 2021. I would entertain a motion.
Motion to appoint Janine. Second.
Any discussion? Okay,
We're
seeing
lucky.
none.
I'm just gonna say, we're lucky to have somebody, she's a class woman, and I think she'll do really well on that board.
Yeah, thank you for being willing to help out, Janine.
Thank you,
Okay.
Janine.
Roll call vote. Alicia Greco,
Yes.
Michael Doyle,
Yes.
Jerry Heavy,
Yes,
Jeff Walker,
Yes.
and J.R. Colby, yes. We have the Newbury Council on Aging Program and Service Survey 2020. Has everyone had a chance to review it?
Yes.
I have.
Okay,
I have to.
okay. I'd entertain a motion so we can discuss.
No,
I was
go ahead, Mike.
gonna say, motion made to discuss what the senior citizens want to do, the Council of Aging. Is that?
Tracy, they want to include it in a tax mailing? Is that the idea? I know that was one of the ideas that was floated.
Chair Macheros is here. She could probably provide some details. I don't know that they had determined that yet.
Okay,
Oh, and the vice chair, Sandra Small, is here as well.
okay, let's, all right, I'll second Mike's motion. We'll go to a roll call vote so we can get to discussion. Alicia Greco,
I don't know if he had a second yet.
I seconded it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, then yes.
Okay, Michael Doyle,
Yes.
Jerry Heavy,
yes,
Jeff Walker,
Yes.
and J.R. Colby, yes. Okay, Joyce, like to speak to this?
Hi, my name is Joyce Maturis, and I live at 5 Sunset Drive. And I'm one of the members on the Board of Directors for the Council on Aging. Actually, I'm the chairman, but Sandy is here tonight, and she's our secretary. And she has been the one that has been working on the survey and has presented it here tonight. So she'll speak on it.
Okay. How are you tonight, Sandy?
Hi, I'm Sandy Small and I live on Main Street in Byfield. I have the survey that I presented. We compiled it together, the board, and we discussed at our last meeting how to present it. And because it involves quite a bit to put it in the tax bill and getting it back, et cetera, we've been offered to put it on the website, town website, and also through an emailing through Susan Noyes in our IT department. She advised that she would help us. So we'd like to try that because she also knows of a program that will tabulate all the information that comes in. So it's pretty much streamlined and it wouldn't be a lot of manpower required to use it. So we thought we'd like to use that initially, maybe down the road, try the tax bill, but we'd like to use that first.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Sandy, are you gonna use Survey Monkey? Is that the one you're using?
I don't know what she will use, but I will certainly, she will take the lead. Susan will
Okay,
help me take the lead.
I can ask Susan.
Any other questions from the board? Jeff?
Sandy,
Um,
I think that's actually kind of a smart idea because you can get a little bit of an idea of what's going on and you can expand on some of your thoughts if you really want to stuff something in the bill. So I think that's actually a great idea.
Well, one of the other thing that is really kind of neat is this will go out and it won't only go to the elders. So it'll give the opportunity of all the townspeople that are on the email list or see it on the website to respond so that it's not just exclusive of elders.
I think it's good.
I do too.
So I had the opportunity to attend the Council on Aging's last meeting, and I'm sorry, Sandy, I had an issue with my audio and I didn't hear what you said, but you're gonna send this out via an online survey, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm sorry, my audio is messed up now and I don't know what happened, but I guess it's part of this virtual thing, and I'm afraid if I fix it, I'm gonna lose the meeting, so. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. So to wrap it back up, you want to use the website, inclusion in the tax bill and email. Is that correct?
We're not going to use tax bills
Okay.
right away. We
Okay.
might use it later on if we don't get a really good feedback from this. But
Okay.
but we've been advised through town personnel that there's an expense, and then how do we get it back? And then we have to tabulate all the responses, and that's manpower. So apparently there is some computer software that will do that for us. And we thought, why not? That's like a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's good thinking. Okay. Would someone like to make a motion?
I move to allow the Council on Aging Board of Directors to ask Susan to send out the survey on their behalf.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote. Alicia Greco,
Yes.
Michael Doyle,
Yes.
Jerry Heavy,
Yes.
Jeff Walker,
Yes,
and J.R. Colby. Yes. Thank you, Sandy, and thank you, Joyce.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank
Have a great-
you.
Have a great night.
Congratulations, Joyce, by the way.
Thank you for doing
Thank
all that
you.
work, Sandy.
Andy, thanks. Joyce, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joyce.
All right, it looks like it's about 7:15. Oh, we got a couple minutes to go. Chief Riley, do you want to give us the Emergency Management Director's update? I mean, sorry, Chief Lucy. I'm not, still feel I gotta get out of that habit.
So yeah, I'll make this really quick. I know we're short for time. So as of the 19th, which is last Thursday, the state DPH, the Department of Health, will do their update of our status for positive cases in town, and we are still, as of the 19th, in the yellow. What that means is what's happened between last Thursday and this Thursday, things could change, and they are trending to change. We have had an increase of positive cases in town. So we're anticipating there will be a change. There very well could be a change in our status. And what that means is we just have to really step up our efforts to stay safe, to do all the precautions, especially with the holiday weekend coming up. There's going to be very proprietary situations developing that you have to really make sure you're doing everything you can to stop spreading this thing. We've actually put out a flyer that's linked on our website, and it went out to the employees, and and also on the website for the residents, that kind of gives some tips in what they can do to protect themselves and their loved ones. So I really encourage everybody, especially before Thursday, to take a look at that and see what they can do with that. As it stands right now, it's concerning because this month alone, we have realized since the first of this month an 80% increase in positive cases. Now, you can also qualify that there's been a lot of testing too, but 80% is something we want to take this seriously. We want to make sure that everyone's doing what they need to do to protect themselves. And I just want everybody to know that the COVID Unified Command, which is myself, DPH, Deb Rogers, and Tracy Blades, meet very regularly, monitor the situation very, very closely. And as things develop into it, we will keep everybody posted on that. And that's really all I have.
Okay, Jerry, you have a question?
Chief, can you just tell us what the actual number as of November 19th, how many people tested?
It was 19.
19. Okay.
19, and the way that, Jerry, the way that establishes our status is a 14-day look back on the current date. So the DPH every Thursday does a 14-day look back, and they see how many new cases we have, and that's how they categorize where we would land. And for the last survey of this, there was 19 positives in that 14-day span.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for the update. John Lucy, Chief of Police.
You're welcome.
All right. All right. And now, have we been joined by Board of Assessors yet, Tracy?
I don't see them here, but our principal assessor, Jason DeCipio, is here for the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you ready to begin, Jason?
I am. How are you? Yeah, I'm here to present on their behalf. So you should have all received a handout from my office regarding the annual classification, and I just want to read aloud a few areas, highlighted areas from the classification report that I've given you all. So the purpose of the classification hearing is for the Board of Selectmen to determine the allocation of local property tax to be borne by the 4 classes of real property and personal property for fiscal year 21. In deciding the allocation, the Selectmen must adopt a residential factor. The residential factor is used to determine the percentage of tax levy that is applied to each of the real and personal property, each class of the real and personal property. The Board of Assessors applies these percentages to individual property classes. So in the community, we are currently in fiscal 21, and this is an interim year. That means we've only made interim year adjustments just to adjust our properties to market value. Our new growth 3-year average is about 186,000. So we actually were slightly ahead of that this year with about $195,000 in new growth. That equates to about $17 million, $17.7 million in value. So the community, the total taxable value, that's important because that's what's used to equate to a tax rate. And for fiscal 21, it's $1.688 billion. So $1,688,378,000 and a few dollars. So that's up about 5.66% from last year. And that's just showing the sign of a healthy community, and property values continue to rise. The tax levy, the fiscal 21 levy limit is calculated based on an equation that is done by the Department of Revenue, and basically what you're allowed to do is grow by 2.5% every year any new growth that we've had in the community, plus, debt exclusion. So the estimated levy for fiscal '21 is $17,998,090. And that we need to know, obviously, because that's how we are able to calculate what our tax rate is going to be. So the tax rate is the tax levy divided by the town's taxable value. So the estimated tax rate for fiscal '21 is $10.66 per 1,000. Important information on the residential factor is that a residential factor adopted by a community governs the percentage of the tax levy that is to be paid by the residential property owners. The residential factor of 1 will result in the taxation of all properties at the same rate, a uniform tax rate. That's how it's commonly known as. However, the law allows commercial, industrial, and personal property tax rate for the town of Newbury to be as high as 50% above the uniform rate. If you're looking at my handout, what that would result in some examples on page 6 of what would happen to the average tax bills if you shifted the rate and chose a factor of higher than 1. Historically, Newbury has always maintained a single tax rate. Some of the other options that you have as part of the classification are a residential exemption. What a residential exemption, the board may adopt an exemption of up to 35% to the shift of the residential tax burden onto the lower assessed properties that are the principal residence of taxpayers to higher assessed properties that are not the principal residence of taxpayers. It's a little confusing on how it reads, and what basically it means is that if you cannot even qualify for the exemption if this is not your domicile here in Newbury. Well, since it's primarily owner occupied here in Newbury, what it does is it shifts the burden within the residential class from the lower valued properties to the higher valued properties. So the higher value properties share a larger burden than the lower value properties. The Board of Assessors has consistently recommended that the residential exemption not be adopted. There's also the option of a small commercial exemption, and this exemption is similar to the residential exemption in that it shifts the burden within the commercial class for small businesses to larger ones. It works by allowing an exemption of up to 10% of class 3, which are commercial properties that are occupied by businesses with an average employment of no more than 10 people at all locations during the previous calendar year, as certified by the Commissioner of the Department of Employment and Training, and valuations of less than $1 million. It's a long sentence, but what it allows you to do is for small businesses with less than 10 people and that are valued at less than $1 million, you can shift some of the burden onto the bigger properties. However, here in Newbury, they are mostly small businesses and you would see very little to no tax relief. The Board of Assessors has also consistently recommended that the small commercial exemption not be adopted. Summarize the classification, the Board of Selectmen may shift the town's tax burden from the residential class to the commercial, industrial, and personal property classes, as long as the shift does not exceed the minimum residential factor, which means the burden cannot be shifted more than 50%. What that does is, in conclusion, the Board of Assessors is unanimous in its recommendation to retain their uniform tax rate for fiscal year 21 with a residential factor of 1. And the selectmen should, which we don't have to actually physically sign the LA5 this year. I believe we'll do a roll call and we'll certify that and allow the authorization of the town administrator, Tracy, to sign the LA5 on the Department of Revenue Gateway system on their behalf. And that is it for my presentation. If anyone has any questions directly, I'd be glad to answer.
Okay, I would entertain a motion so we can move to discussion.
Motion made to discuss the tax rate analysis for fiscal year 21.
Second.
There we go.
Okay, discussion. Any questions, comments?
No, thank you for presenting it. It's easy for me to understand, but I've been here for a while. I don't know, Jerry, do you understand, or Mike, do you understand
Yeah,
what
yeah,
presented?
dealt with this a long time ago. Yeah,
It was a well-prepared document. and-
yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, I'll move to, I would entertain a motion.
I move that we accept the recommendation of the Board of Assessors to have a residential, is it equivalency of 1?
Correct. The uniform for a factor of 1, yes.
Yeah, a uniform factor of 1.
Is there a second?
Second,
Okay, I'll move to a roll call vote. Alicia Greco,
Yes,
Michael Doyle,
yes.
Jerry Heavy,
Yes.
Jeff Walker,
Yes.
and J.R. Colby, yes. Thank you, Jason.
You're welcome. We do, I do need to get a roll call in on the two other items, also the residential exemption and the small commercial exemption, just for the classification needs to be read aloud, and also to say that, you know, if an agreement, as it was just said, that you do not, you know, recommend or do not want to have a residential factor, I mean, a residential exemption or a small commercial exemption.
so I move that we do not allow a residential exemption.
Second that,
Roll call vote. Alicia Greco,
Yes,
Michael Doyle,
yes.
Jerry Heavy,
Yes.
Jeff Walker,
Yes.
J.R. Colby, yes.
and then again, Mr. Chairman, I recommend that we move to not allow a commercial exemption,
All small commercial exemption.
small commercial exemption.
Is there a second?
Second,
Roll call vote. Jeff Walker,
Yes.
Jerry Heavy,
Jerry,
Yeah, are you not, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, are you not hearing me?
I'm
There's
not,
like- There's just a
I'm
little
not.
delay.
All right, all right. Yeah, I said yes.
Michael Doyle,
yes.
Alicia Greco,
yes.
and J.R. Colby, yes.
Do we need to, let Tracy sign it? Does that have to be voted on?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so let me make the motion. How are we gonna do the motion real quick?
That
Hold
would be
on.
it would be a motion to authorize the administrator to sign
Yeah.
on the board's behalf, correct?
So is that the motion, JR?
I move, I move that we allow the town administrator to sign the document needed by the assessor on behalf of the select board.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Roll call vote. Jeff Walker,
Yes.
Jerry Heavy,
Yes.
Michael Doyle,
Yes.
Alicia Greco,
Yes,
and J.R. Colby, yes. Okay,
Well, thank you very much.
Thank
okay,
you.
thank you, Jason. Have a good night.
Thank you, work.
Jason, thank you.
now I have one more question before you leave, Jason. Do we need anything from us to allow the town clerk to certify anything, or she can just certify?
She'll view this meeting, I believe, which is being recorded, and certify that. It's new for this year. It's, you know, nobody really knows exactly how it was supposed to be done, because it's obviously, this is in the midst of COVID, but that's how they said to do it. Instead of having you all do physical signatures on the LA5 form, now she'll just certify that this was the vote.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
wonderful Thanksgiving.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jason,
Have a
thanks.
good night, everybody.
Tracy, are you ready for administrator's report?
Sure. There's been a little discussion lately about the Kent Way lease. And I had an opportunity to conduct a very careful review of Mass General Law, Chapter 30B. And in consultation with the Office of the Inspector General and with Town Council as well, I made a determination that the office space that we have here and that's leased by the town at 12 Kent Way is to be considered a unique property. Advertising to go out for a competitive bid, I don't believe will benefit the town due to the very unique qualities of the facility and the location where we currently reside. So basically, I identified the fact that the property is located within the town's boundaries. The office spaces were customized to accommodate Newbury Town Hall's individual space needs, things like the hearing room, the IT room, and the various individual office spaces. The 7,400 square feet of space is also furnished to meet the town's exact needs. There's 575 square foot of storage unit space on site here. There is an opportunity for the town to actually save significant costs by not incurring additional moving costs, not to mention the logistical inconveniences and expenses that go along with the move of this magnitude. We also received a grant for the installation of safety features in each of the existing office suites. We have locks, video surveillance, and panic buttons all in this location. We also incurred expenses in installing appropriate networking for the town hall operations. All of the ADA requirements have been met at this location and were customized to this current site. And I think consideration needs to be given to the fact that it took the better part of a year for residents to actually learn that this was our existing location. And I think to transition to another alternative location would be very difficult. We have also just recently incurred expenses for COVID-19, retrofitting all of the office spaces. So given, those factors, I feel very confident that I could justify this as a unique acquisition. So we will still be required to go through some of the normal process, like posting in the central register and the likes, but I think to try and orchestrate a move at this point would be detrimental.
When does the lease expire?
It expires in July. And I've been working with the owners, Brandon Kelly, for the last few months to try and see what we could secure here. So I just think it makes sense to try and stay here, and he has agreed to maintain the existing terms of our agreement. The 3-year lease with 2 1-year renewals if necessary. Jane Merrow from the First Parish Church Food Pantry has contacted the town. She asked if we had any space available for them to expand their existing food pantry. At this time, we really don't. I mean, we're obviously living in temporary quarters for the most part. They were specifically seeking the fire station, the hall at the fire station. Unfortunately, that's not possible, but I told them that I would mention it to you, that they're seeking spaces, and they said in the event that even private businesses had available space, they could be eligible for a tax write-off if they were willing to share that space with them. So again, her name is Jane Merrow. She is with the First Parish Church Food Pantry, and she can be reached at 978-360-0098. The Council on Aging Space Needs Assessment. Chairman Colby and I had a very productive conversation with Chair Joyce Macheros, and we followed up with, I think Vice Chair Greco had mentioned, with the COA meeting to discuss the assessment and how we might move it forward. Basically, at this point, as of today, the town has contracted with Context to perform the assessment, and the COA director will be coordinating all of the schedules for the various people that he'll need to be meeting with. And I think we're all really excited to see this work get underway at this point.
That's great news. Thank you.
Yeah. Someone had asked, I think it may have been Selectman Heavy, for Zoom instructions. from the Saturday morning meeting, someone had notified her that it was hard to get on. So the IT director has placed a Zoom tutorial link on the website. So in the event that people are having problems with connectivity, they can go to that tutorial for another lesson. The Boston Post-Cane will be awarded on November 25th to Cornelia Matthew. I think Chairman Colby will be in attendance at that. Further, just updating you on the tax title advertising. I think I may have mentioned to you, we had 9 accounts that still remain delinquent. And we have not seen an increase in the delinquencies over the previous year, which is good news for us. So basically of over $17 million billed in taxes, we've only got about 25,000 currently outstanding. So excellent job for the finance department, the tax collector.
And that bodes well for the residents of the town, that they're gainfully employed and they're able to pay their property taxes. So that's good news.
And finally, just wanted to update you on the Byfield Community Arts Center. I had mentioned to you that one of the long sailing joist spans had snapped. The DPW is currently in there, and the director has reported to me that the issues are more comprehensive than we initially thought. So just want everyone to understand that it is very likely that the BCAC will not be able to get back into that building until sometime late spring, early summer. Their current lease that they have does expire this June, and if the board would agree, I would ask you to waive their lease payments, as they're not going to be able to use the building for that period of time.
I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to let the Byfield Arts not pay the rent for the rest of the year, or the rest of the lease.
The rest of the year or the rest of the lease?
The rest of the lease. Does that make more sense?
Or perhaps while they cannot, are not allowed occupancy.
Correct.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Roll call vote, Alicia Greco,
Yes.
Michael Doyle,
Yes.
Jerry Heavy,
Yes.
Jeff Walker.
Oh.
And J.R. Colby, yes. I think that was a yes, right, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm back on now, yes.
There we go. All right. Okay, what else do we have, Tracy? Anything?
That's it for me.
Okay. Nothing under old business. Correspondence, we received a letter from Ransom Consulting about the cleanup at 19 Independence Way. We received correspondence from Xfinity, November 2nd, 2020. And also a letter from the Commonwealth of the Mass Division of Marine Fisheries dated 11/16/2020 on clam flat closures. Any meeting updates?
I have one. Veterans Day, the dedication of the World War II Veterans Memorial was held in Byfield. Selectwoman Greco and Selectwoman Heavy joined me at the thing with Lenny Mara. Really, I want to reach out to that committee. They did a great job of getting this park, this memorial up and running, and it was nice to do something on Veterans Day since we couldn't do the meeting, couldn't do the luncheon, so it went very well.
Good, nice.
And I also have an update. I attended the school committee meeting last night, which was very heavily attended. And
262 people on that meeting.
yeah, and Jeff
Lot of
was there
people.
too. And I'll tell you, there's, as you heard Chief Lucy say, with COVID rising, the school committee is under a lot of pressure to stay ahead of COVID. And as of today, or as of last night, there still was no person-to-person contact within the schools, in any of the schools, in any of the 5 schools, none at Newbury Elementary, none at the middle and the high school. So the school committee did vote to keep things, the status quo for now. But as the cases climb, it's gonna be tricky. And I think that they might be a little bit stretched for staffing as well. So we just got to keep our eye on that because it's a status quo for now, but I'm a little concerned about what's going to happen at Triton after the break.
Just to expand a little what Alicia said too, one of their main concerns is to do anything after Thanksgiving should some of the numbers reflect the need. And I think, Alicia, you and I were pretty surprised and impressed that they put together kind of a new dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
Did a nice job with it, and it's just more clear, more concise, more easy to read, so that, you know, the needs and what's going on are displayed very readily. So, I mean, can't say enough for what Brian's done. I mean, he's been very sturdy doing this, and Narissa, of course, and the rest of the board, they're doing the best they can, and it's tough.
Yeah, I don't envy that school committee in one iota right now. But yeah, the dashboard is supposedly going to be, looks at each positive more on a more individual basis to see how it impacts. So yeah, they're on top of this. They're on top of this. I'm thankful it's Thanksgiving, and this year I'm thankful that our superintendent is Brian Forget because he's really been steadfast and stayed ahead of this curve. Kudos to him and his administration.
And just one other thing, I think what some of us might not realize is there's some core need kids that are there most of the time. And what they are trying to balance is the hybrid system against the fact that if something really goes wrong and the numbers explode, then those core kids that are there 5 days a week wouldn't be able to go in the building either. So this is a little bit of a dance.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Any other meeting updates? Okay, one thing I missed tonight, we need to vote to authorize the chair to sign our Council on Aging appointment.
Motion.
Yep.
Motion made to let Chairman
And
sign.
I did also attend, before we make that motion, I want to go and stay under meeting updates. I attended the Council on Aging meeting this week as well. And the chair had originally tendered his resignation, the previous chair, for 12/31. But then something changed and he has resigned effective immediately. And Joyce graciously stepped up to the plate and is now the chair, and Evelyn is the vice chair along with Sandy. And they're going to keep this Council on Aging moving, and they really do need Janine to make it a 5-member board. But they have there's the space needs assessment, and then there's a programming needs assessment. So they have their work cut out for them now. The director is still fairly new. They're still going to hire, I think, a program coordinator or something. So they're in a little bit of a
Flux.
tumultuous
Yeah.
state right now. So I think I'm gonna attend
I
those
would-
meetings and try to help them as much as I can.
Well, I am attending too. I was working that day, but the other thing is we need more people on the council. It's like, I think they can go up to 9 members. And I think if, we get some more like people like Janine on the board, I think it would be good for the board.
I think it
Just
would
so-
help them. Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
do
they
too.
they need a diverse board. They need
Yeah.
more diversity. Right now, there are 5 women. I'd like to see
Yeah.
some men and some young people, and they need more diversity. So
Yeah, totally agree.
Okay, Mike made a motion that's yet to be seconded to authorize the chair to sign the COA appointment of Janine.
no, I'll second that.
I'll move to a roll call vote. Alicia Greco,
Yes.
Mike Doyle,
Yes.
Jerry Heavy,
Yes.
Jeff Walker,
Yes.
and J.R. Colby, yes. We have a review of meeting minutes. November 2nd, 2020, and November 10th, 2020.
I move to accept the minutes as submitted.
Second,
Any discussion?
I like
I'll
them.
move to
They're
a-
clear and succinct.
I'll move to a roll call vote. Alicia Greco,
Yes,
Mike Doyle,
yes.
Jeff Walker,
Yes.
Jerry Heavy,
Yes.
and J.R. Colby, yes. And also, we need a vote to authorize the chair to sign warrants.
I
Motion
move
by
to
the
allow
chair to
the,
sign warrants.
Second,
Roll call vote. Alicia Greco,
yes,
Michael Doyle,
yes.
Jerry Heavy,
Yes.
Jeff Walker,
Yes.
and J.R. Colby, yes. No executive session tonight. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Happy Thanksgiving. Second,
Roll call vote. Alicia Greco,
yes.
Michael Doyle,
yes.
Jerry Heavy,
Yes. Happy
Jeff Walker,
Thanksgiving.
Yes.
and J.R. Colby, yes. And yes, a happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Same.
Good one. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
good night.
Stay safe.